What's up, legalizers? Thank you for joining us for another episode of Cannabis Legalization News. I'm one of your hosts, Tom Howard. You can find me over at cannabisindustrylawyer.com or other websites. We have some federal legalization news this week. We're going to really focus on that because the presidential election is coming up, but also we're expecting Schedule 3 and many other things. This election allows the elected possible senators and representatives to ring in on whether or not they support your favorite issue. And that's why it is our lead story of the week. Stick around to the end. We'll play some Name That Strain, and then there's some new sponsors that we want to run by you. So let's get into the main stories of the week.
Hey, thanks for joining us. You're here because you care about policy and the culture.
Yep. Yes. Give yourself a thumbs up, and hopefully you have subscribed. Mostly our subscribers tune in for the live feed. They find out about us on news stories. I have a new one about cannabis zoning. That one has not been flagged 18 plus. I did not swear in it because I was upset, which is good. And
good self-control.
Well, why do you set it up that way if you know that there's certain things that I don't like in laws, loopholes and window dressing. And so that's why. And so like when I see loopholes or window dressing, I'm like, what are you even trying to do here? What's the policy goal of this? Fraud? Is that what the policy goal is? Because that's how you get fraud. But I digress. We're here for the news. And so we have news that's at the national level. I'm looking at the second story. The first one has to do with Kamala Harris, ready to sign marijuana reform bill if elected president, according to a Democratic senator.
Well, I find these topics just to be like no shit Sherlock. Like the Democratic Party has proven like people are saying like, oh, she had 3.5 years to legalize it. She's the vice president, and not just that, the president won't. Like, even if there were
shit, Reagan at 8. He didn't fuck.
Yeah, but for legalization, like I've always I never thought policy was ever going to happen, dude. Because like you've always said, Congress needs to pass the bill, right, to make this thing part of our lexicon or whatever you want to say. But with rescheduling, that's already been the ball rolling. Like there's been actual how to legislate, how to lead with this present administration. And I see
they don't want to. Like cannabis is such a non-issue. I mean, like we love it. We think it's an important issue about what it means to be American and freedom and small government, big government, sensible regulations, faith in the laws that you have to abide by. But we are just by and large ignored. The Democratic National Convention, the Republican National Convention, number of times cannabis came up.
Well, it's on a Democratic platform now. I mean, at least they touted it, right? That was one of the stories.
Zero.
Did it not at all?
No, it's still not up. And so like it's one of those where what's going to happen is Harris will win. Is she going to then sign something? And then she doesn't have to sign nothing. They just have to make the rule effective. Like,
well, as far as
Biden's already signed that thing 2 years ago.
Right. The ball's already rolling. I mean, it can stop. It can get stopped at any time. So I think with if we can continue with the Democratic administration type BS, we will get the progress we need. Something that'll be for the people. Something that's going to be, like you said, the whole liberty, freedom. Because the Farm Bill, people say the Farm Bill legalized weed, but it's by far has not. It hasn't given anybody protections. Right?
It has not legalized marijuana. It legalized the cannabis plant. There's a thumbs up for you. It legalized the cannabis plant, but it did not allow for all those crimes. And so like when you have states like North Carolina, where they're saying, oh, this THC is hemp, here, go buy it at a store. You lit it on fire, arrest them. Like they haven't fixed it. That's just a loophole being exploited right there. And so I don't like that. And I also don't like when they don't really know how to set up the regulations, or they set up the regulations that they know are going to like fail, or they just don't really care. And that's really kind of what I get after being in it for so long. I just think a lot of it is they don't really care. No. And so like we care. We have to try to make them care. or at least explain to them why you can't do it that way, because what are you trying to accomplish here?
Well, as each state, because we have 4 states coming up this year, they're going to be having it on the ballot for legalization for recreational use, right? Adult consumption. One of the things that I ponder for legalization, right? There's got to be that path for people to be in business, right? This is what's going to be. We all want deschedule. We all want it just completely off and ignored like alcohol, but that is not going to happen, right? This plant has a 100-year history. It's a hot topic that always will, like right now. There's GOP people against it. It's like part of their platform, part of that whole 2020-25 ban porn type scenario, which I don't get. So, like you were saying, that the second story you were talking about is the GOP senators claim marijuana.
Wait, I got a quote from Senator Brian Schatz. Do you know where Senator Brian Schatz is from?
No.
Hawaii. SCHATZ, he's a local. He told Marijuana Moment that he thinks that cannabis rescheduling goes through, as the Justice Department proposed, going to be powerfully electorally for the Harris-Walz ticket. So we might see a rule get published within the last month before the election. So between October 5th and November 5th, unless like Harris is too close, or like if she's like really just kicking his ass, maybe they don't put the rescheduling rule in. But if they want to use it as an October surprise, they could. They could put the rescheduling thing in at October 15th. Here it is. Schedule 1 is going to go to Schedule 3. Care to comment, Mr. Trump? Ms. Harris?
Well, speaking of Trump, though, he's supposed to come out with a statement after he just voted in Florida, right? They just voted on, or no, that's coming up in their.
It's coming up, but then he's going to vote early, and so he was supposed to issue a statement on, I think it's Amendment 3, and then I think it's yes on 29 in South Dakota. I don't know where else it is on the ballot. If you do, put it in the comments. Yes. Let us know where else on the ballot the thing is this fall, because I know it's South Dakota, I know it's Florida. Missing after that. Maybe municipalities in Texas and Kansas. We had some Kansas news coming up here in the next ones. But this one, let's go to the second one. That's the Missouri one. That's our second story.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's on the Missouri one.
Yeah, that's it. Josh Hawley is he's in an election because everybody is. And so he is a GOP Senate candidate, and he's the incumbent, Josh Hawley. And then he's got who's his opponent?
I don't know, but I know he's bad. I know Josh is bad. I know he's a little bit. But so he's Missouri, right?
Yeah. I'm just gonna look. These are Missourians, yeah.
No, except for the Senator Rick Scott. See, this one's the template for the gateway drug bullshit. Mm-hmm. The GOP senators claim marijuana is a gateway drug as they oppose rescheduling and legalization. And again, this is all part of like just how we want progress and how we get there. And how we get there is going to be right now with the Democratic president administrations, right? Like it's happening, folks. It's going to happen no matter what. If you're in hemp right now, it'd be a good time to start figuring out how you're going to pivot. How are you going to be part of compliance? There's ways for protections,
Man, this is just a litany of it. And so there's the Senate candidate from Missouri, and then there's the Senate candidate or senator from Florida, Senator Rick Scott, who made all of his money committing fraud on the Medicare. He thinks marijuana is a gateway drug, and he would know something about gateway drugs. He had to resign from the company that he led in Florida in the 90s, and they settled for $1.7 billion in Medicare fraud. But he is the wealthiest. That guy in the middle, that guy kind of looks like a serpent and a little, like when they say Republicans are weird, like you should just look at the picture of Rick Scott from Florida and be like, yeah, that's weird. And so he made all of his money from Medicare fraud, and he's the wealthiest person in Congress with over $300 million.
No, that's nuts, dude. I mean, he does look like a rat penis, but I mean, it's just showing their there is no seriousness on the GOP side when it comes to legalization. This is the whole point.
Wait,
like,
let's see how Mitt Romney approaches it. Mitt Romney is a good, capitalist. He understands private equity and hedge funds and managing a company and a portfolio so that you can acquire and grow assets. He's got a family unit that he manages, but he used to. He thinks that rescheduling marijuana is a bad idea, adding that marijuana is more potent than people of my generation remember, and this is a bad decision. Have you ever had any personal experience with it? When asked that question, the senator said, "No, I've never tried cannabis." Classic. They have no idea what they're talking about, and they are in charge of the laws. Have you ever done this? No. So you could be wrong. Nah.
Yeah. Have you really looked into it? Have you made it a lifelong ambition to have legalization? These people don't consider this real. This is the most American policy. If you're going to be a one topic person, one voter type thing, this is it. I think.
Yeah. It's the other thing we have to do. We have the high from Germany. We have to get
yes, thank you.
We have to use ChatGPT to translate this into German, Vietnamese, Thai. Of course, Chinese, just to piss them off, and Russian, just to piss them off, and of course German, all German, Portuguese, Spanish. We need to as soon as it's possible, or a thing where we can have the channel just be redubbed using a ChatGPT plugin or something through YouTube. Let's do that and go worldwide.
There is a thing, and I would recommend Hindi too, right? Because India's got a huge ass
Hindi.
Population.
We got to, yeah, Vishnu, man.
So, in our for the Democrat platform, you were saying it wasn't mentioned at all, but coming from marijuana moment, we have Democrats approve 2020 platform touting marijuana reform and support bashing Trump's anti-cannabis actions. So,
this is this is news. So this is something that happened since I looked into it, and so this is out of August 19th. They must have updated their platform.
Yeah, well, and of course, in the story, you got a little comment from Kevin Sabat saying the final Democratic Party platform has no language supporting marijuana. So I guess you're right; they don't have any language, but they're touting their what they've done for it. So, I mean, this is closer to where we're ever getting right now, folks.
It's also they don't care about you, folks, and so it's annoying that the stigma is this real. And so you have real stigma against you. We have real problems running the business because of what it is. That's one of the reasons why I'm going to start offering a spicy cabbage business community. Spicy cabbage. That can't be weed, can it? No, I said spicy cabbage. I didn't say weed. But it's messed up, man.
The fact that you and I are about to sell pot, and it's way different than I thought it was when I was 18 selling pot.
I think we are at least 6-9 months out from selling pot.
Sure.
Probably closer to 12. I mean, I will be buying flowers for everybody across the street. That I'm putting that into the budget for the loan proceeds. And so the loan proceeds will have certain expenses that we need to make to ensure that the permitting and the licensing process, at least at the local level, goes well. We're going to do everything that the state says that we're supposed to do. And if they request any changes, we'll make them. But locally, that's the problem. If your community wants to work with you, it'll go faster. If they don't,
of course,
it may not happen.
Well, that's why I'm thinking I need to fly out there just for one of these social events, just to be present. I mean, I know
we really don't have social events, but yes, for the zoning committee meeting, please come on out. Yeah. And then it'll be one of those things where locally owned and social equity. I shouldn't have to tell you this. I really shouldn't. It would really help if you were black. Or me.
Hey man, I'm brown. I'm a different hue. It's a huge thing. But while we're there, let's 420. Let's take a break.
Hey, it's 20 past the hour. Thank you for tuning in to Cannabis Legalization News. We'll be back right after this short commercial message. Oh, yes. Collateral Base has got a week left of Kentucky Fun before that window done shut. Grateful that Minnesota shut pretty well a couple weeks ago tomorrow. And now we have to put Kentucky to, it's not limping to the barn, but there's horses in Kentucky. And we have to get those apps in. And then after that, we'll have more opportunities for people. But we need a different brand than collateral based because you can't afford it really. Like it's one of those. Like, do you have any idea how expensive this thing is to start, or to even get the license?
I mean, I'm part of it, right? I'm listening, I'm knowing, I'm watching. But apparently they forget about you. Apparently you don't exist, but locally owned because you live in Peoria. Like that's your hometown. Like that's the only reason. Yeah. So like. And again, I understand your frustration. Like I won, you didn't. Did you apply? I don't know. I don't know what your story is or how you've been doing things. But as a fellow American, I rescheduling would give everybody a path, right? This happened to be a lottery.
I think it will really give a lot of paths for the Republican states that are kind of caught in a funk. But it's going to be interesting. I don't think we have full legalization. 28 at the earliest. At the earliest.
Dude. 2030.
Yeah. And so like they use it as a presidential, hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Yeah. And so they keep saying it. I mean, like with gay marriage, it went from like no gay marriage to fine in an election cycle, like 2008, 2012. And so let's say we're 2024, we get Rule 3. So it says Schedule 3, here's how it works. Yeah. If you want to be a dispensary, you have these things, you have to register here, pay this. And then it's like a really easy to copy paste that and put some taxes on it and say that it's now in the schedule, in the UST, what's the one? Firearms, tobacco, ATF, explosive, they keep adding things. So you put it into that and then it's just pay your taxes. Follow the rules, pay your taxes. But I think we need that 4 years of here's the rules, maybe 8 years, but no more than 8.
You know what this is gonna I think you're right. But when we say 2028, 2030 legalization, we mean the kind where there's no, it's just much ado about nothing, right? Like when you used to come to Seattle Hemp Fest and there's 300,000 people just smoking pot and walking through all day, and I'm like, and you thought it was amazing, right? It's kind of like when I first walked into my you're like, this is mundane. This is just fucking. I mean, that's what we're doing. We're just sitting here. I could do this at home. I mean, I want to do this at home. This is the whole point. But like, if it was I
need to get my steps in. Community.
But it was something that like legalization is a much ado about like some people just having personal rights and going about their day, not just being fucked with. And I think that's the point of legalization we'll hit in 2030, 2028. Whereas rescheduling could happen next year, right?
But like, I don't think Congress will do their job. So I think the rules, like we need rules. If we don't have rules, you're not going to get it descheduled. And so like the first rules at the federal government are weeks, hopefully, not months, but weeks away. And then we'd have rules. And then after you get used to those rules, because then like it's Schedule 3. So they'd have to like have the FDA do something, or Congress would have to pass a law and say like, okay, now that we have these rules, let's create this new thing over here in the ATF and make it the CAT, like move the A and the T and then put the C first. Cannabis, alcohol, tobacco. So CATF, firearms, explosives, CATFE.
That'd be better. But yeah, I mean, it's about the rules. This is why we're about the policy, right? Like, this is how we're going to get legalization. It's like they're getting our license. It took a fucking year. We won. And then a year later, and that was part of my frustration about here in Washington State when legalization happened was when I tried to apply when the original rollout happened, all these requirements about having property just were beyond my capacity, right? All I want to do is put my name on a thing, say I'll have a store. I couldn't even tell you what potential I could do, be a grower or a store owner. It was like a lottery when it came, like the randomness of how these policies get rolled out state by state. You need deeper pockets or a longer plan. It's not a overnight success.
Oh my God. Now imagine you were doing a rollout of a medical state with 0 patients.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, hey, it costs the same to build it, but you ain't going to make shit once it's done. And so the South Dakota, we may talk about them later today. They got it on the ballot. I think it's question 29. But right now, let's talk about Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas is trying to legalize weed with the help of a former federal prosecutor. When you're reporting that Kansas might try to legalize it, you know that this is getting toward the end states. And so if suddenly the law of the land federally was that it's medical marijuana, all these states like Kansas, Nebraska, Idaho, all the I's except for Illinois for some reason, the ones that have really like hung in there. And then here's how you can create medical cannabis through a lottery. And then they just adopted what Kentucky is doing right now. And so Kentucky could export medical cannabis to the South, and then you have to phase it up and legalize it. So Kentucky has done an exceptionally great job at not giving out too many licenses. I can't say the same about Minnesota. I can't say the same about New York or South New York or New Mexico either, or Michigan. We'll talk about that later, like how many cannabis applications are up. There's reasons for it.
I would just like to say this is where we differ. We're like, Tom's a big fan of limited licenses. I think there should be unlimited, and that's where I think rescheduling will come into play. I think rescheduling will be well, then it'll be on a state by state basis too.
No, right? You're talking about a license. When you're talking about a license, you're talking about a privilege. When you're talking about a privilege, you're not talking about a right. And so, like unlimited licenses is approaching it like it's a right. It's not like it's approaching it like it's a privilege. And so, when you approach it like it's a privilege, then it has to be a limited state, because you are going to require these people to do crap you don't require of right-based businesses, like if you're going to make a lemonade stand or even a brewery, which is still a privilege. You still would have to get a liquor license then. And that's kind of where it comes down to. So if you're going to put cash handling, recall, security, lighting, do you have to have a union? Do you need to have all those things? Are you going to require all that? That makes it exceedingly expensive to operate. So if it makes it exceedingly expensive to operate, now you're going to have no industry. Everybody's just going to keep buying on the black market because you have bankrupted your own industry. And so that's kind of the California's policy problems that they have. And does anybody care? No.
But you know, the contrary to that, just this would be on the opposite of like an unlimited license, right? Because yes, it requires all that baggage that you're involved in. So you would hope anybody entering into that business or a business is going to be already with attention, meeting all these specs, right? Meeting all the requirements, security, whatever it is. So like it's already part of the job description. So now when you involve like unlimited license, right? Like, is there a limited license in alcohol sales? No, it's the quality of your store, right?
They can deny you a liquor license.
Yeah, you can be denied, but is there a limited? Like, is there only?
Yeah, 10? That's a limit. That's a limiter right there, and so it's a privilege. And so the limiter of a liquor license and the limiter of a cannabis license ain't the same thing. It ain't. And so like that's the thing that I kind of get back to is like we all want it to be ideal, but we're in the real world. Right. So take what we have and then try to move the policy goal to the next level, and then move the goalpost down and try to get to that next policy goal. But that takes dreams of a larger goal, but then pragmatism as to like, we're here, do this, then we're here. And so that's why I get the most pissed off at the hemp people, because we were like moving the policy football down, and then they're just like, say it's all legal. Fuck.
I mean, ideally, right? Yeah. But see, it's a great thing about hemp. Like as much as, because there was, besides the farm bill that happened before that, there was the pre-farm bill, that one where there was a smaller contingency of people growing
2014.
Yeah. No. And the part of, you remember like Charlotte's Web and Brown McCarring, right? These were the early of the medicine type, like people in business. And then eventually showed that like this is medicine and it can be done right. And then, but it's also messed up that it was such a limited, faction. Now the second farm bill just released unleashed the Kraken, but it's still the fucking same plant. That's why I was saying like when rescheduling happens, hemp has to happen, right? The cannabis hemp.
Again, let's make sure that is it the plant or is it chemicals? Because if it's the plant, THCA flower.
Yeah.
Now, if it's chemicals, Delta 8, Delta 9, THCA, like all those could still be chemicals synthesized through chemistry from CBD and then sprayed on shitty boof that may not be safe.
Sure.
Yeah. And so we have a Wyoming case out of a federal judge dismissing a challenge to Wyoming's hemp ban. That was out of Ganjapreneur, conservative ass Wyoming. Federal judge dismissed lawsuit challenging the statewide ban on intoxicating hemp with prejudice. So it ain't coming back. It's going up to the appeals court.
Does Wyoming have a medical program?
Absolutely not.
So I wonder what they're, maybe they're waiting for maybe they just really hate weed, period. Because I think they can gain, I've been to Casper, Wyoming, and I've gotten weed out there. There's consumption, but it's mostly a barren area of just like truckers and shit going through.
I'm not talking about Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole's for like coked up billionaires, but
fucking sex. Yeah,
I thought there was a place in Wyoming that's supposed to be kind of like hippie-ish, just kind of like how there's Asheville, North Carolina. What's that hippie town in Wyoming?
But like, what's the madness? Why are they even trying to like hate hemp? And how is that even possible that they can ban a federal legal? Right? How are states able to regulate against the thing if it's nationally legal? Do you know that?
It's
Batman?
not legal, and that's like we've been talking about this, and so some lawyers, I don't agree with them, and I'm also guilty. Hundreds of thousands of views of my videos going like, it's legal. And so that is one person's a spin who's a lawyer on the legality of it. But then I argue the exact opposite about why it actually might not be legal. A way more thumbs down and less watched video, by the way. So arguing why hemp is legal and THCA is legal. Yay! Big thumbs up. Arguing the other side, oh no, you can't do that. Big thumbs down. Yeah,
I think CBD companies like the early on the beginning of legalization, because it's right. We're just kind of witnesses of this whole thing, right? We're still in the middle of all this shit.
Yeah, we still haven't even fixed the hemp loophole. We still don't have hemp and cannabis or marijuana. What is what? All that shit's still kind of murky. But then we're going to get rules, and then we're going to have two sets of rules. And so I think once those rules are there, Congress doesn't have to do its job anymore. It's been done. Somebody made the regulatory rubric, and then they just take it and they put it in, and they make it a bill, and they add some tax, and they call it the Freedom Act.
Oh, jeez. But I know Congress is a fickle bitch in the sense that it's never going to create legalization that we all want and believe for, right? You're here because you love this plant like we do, and understand that it's not all the bullshit. But and it's funny too, because you started this channel intentions for your business, right? And so we really do mingle with some fancy people who well do, but also just the average citizen.
Are going to get Kyle. We need to book Kyle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the average citizen, right? That's who's making this happen. Yeah. Oh no, you're good. But and so it's like Ohio. You know how Ohio did it by county, and this is kind of
They voted on it. It was a ballot initiative.
No, but I meant first you changed the public's opinion, right? How in Appalachia, normal, we had them on, remember? Then they talked about they had a plan, and this is the plan. The plan is to reschedule right now. Ain't nobody doing nothing for this plant for you and for the end user. The ball's rolling with rescheduling. That's it. That's what we got. And we got to.
People are doing it for cash, and they're also hopeful that people don't find out they're doing it for cash.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's you're talking about a culture thing too, right? The whole trapping bullshit, right? I hate encouraging. I understand. This is where we
trapping is not the industry.
Well, my thing is too, but like to have like advice to like fellow man and people. It's like that's the kids, right? It's always about save the children, you know.
Well, somebody please,
yeah,
if you're watching, thumbs up, like, subscribe, because you're thinking about the children.
But if you're 18 to 30 right now, I want you to like, and you're trapping. Do you know like successful old trappers? Like that's all I do, because they're not famous. That's not how that works, right? And it's not a thing that like it's not business like the American pretty much way, which is going to be like you're going to have to pay taxes, you're going to have to follow rules. It's not fun. You know, it's not a hustle you think it is. You know that cool slinging type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We're going to go to one that's 35 minutes past the hour. Well, I guess we're actually just at 30 minutes past the hour. So let's do the hemp-derived intoxicants.
All right.
I don't think we need to talk about the little tiff going on in Missouri. It's a little political bitch fest. That's what we think about Missouri sometimes. It's a little political bitch fest. Other times, fucking awesome. Like, great industry. Still a little political bitch fest sometimes. I expected better from a, what's his name? Ashcroft? Not really. I guess you knew his father. So anyway, analysis of hemp-derived intoxicants frequently mislabeled and contain elevated levels of pesticides. This is out of normal.org.
So, they're just not tested properly, you think? Huh.
I don't know.
I didn't even read this one.
That's one of the reasons why I think we need to update our policies and protocols for making it easier. So then we could just, it was like, imagine if you had cue cards or something like that. Wouldn't that be easier if it was just like talking points? Like, oh, say this.
I would say, well, let's read together. So analysis.
Feeding this straight to the AI.
Intoxicant products typically contain greater quantities of THC than so let's talk about the THC potencies. So not levels and elevated pesticides, but you know, and this comes back to regulation though too, man. Like with the hemp industry, it's still kind of like you can sell gas station weed and get away with it. Nobody's coming from these farms, the processors, you know, unless something like remember the popcorn lung scare a couple years ago, all the black market weed. That was actually the vitamin E acetate that was creating this because they weren't part of a regulated system, though people thought they were buying it from a regulated system. Right?
Pesticide contamination on 15% of the products.
I mean, and again, there's ways that we can do this where we don't have this. You know, there's a reason for recalls. You know,
most products don't match cannabinoid levels on their COAs. Can you imagine that? The COAs are bullshit.
What? No. But that's, you know, people are riding that wave, dude. People are thinking, you know, good on you, I guess, if you can get a hustle out of this, but also you're not doing the community or cannabis any favors, right? You're not doing this plant's, I mean, you're making a buck. But we got South Dakota news.
South Dakota news. This one is just the administration is important in South Dakota. It's, do you know who the governor of South Dakota is?
No. Oh, is it no?
Oh, is it? Is it the lady who kills dogs?
Yeah, is it the dog killer?
Yeah, it's Christy Nome. It is. It's
well,
Christy
she
Nome.
Also pulled back,
killer.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, she sued. Didn't she sue the state to?
Yeah. She overturned it the last time, and so they're back at it again. Saw some people. Was that just? Yeah, it was last weekend. I got to meet some nice people from South Dakota. Nice. My brother-in-law's hometown of Yankton has a dispensary in it. Old Roy's, I think is what it is. And saw some owners from South Dakota. 1 million people there, and I hope that they legalize it again. Did you know that there's only 13,000 card holders in South Dakota, which is approximately 1% of the population?
Wow. But you know what's even funny? Were you saying that? This article come from Ganjpreneur. South Dakota increases medical cannabis license fee 70%, dude. So your brother-in-law is about to pay 70% more just to stay in the game.
No. He doesn't own it. He's from
Oh,
there. He lives in Tampa now.
oh, okay.
But they are going to raise the fee to 9 large from 53.10, and so they're trying to, hem them in.
Mm-hmm.
They don't approve of what their people want.
Money grab. That's horrible.
No, it's just the people want it, and the people in charge say no. The
Yeah.
changes are going to create $350,000 in increased revenue in the first part of the year, and 490,000 increased revenue in subsequent years. And so they're just taking more of a tax. Like the feds, not the feds in this case, it's the South Dakotans. They want more of their beaks wet, even though they hate them.
Yeah. That's unfortunate, dude. That's just a money grab. I see, from the state.
Correct.
Yeah. We got coming from Entrepreneur Report, U.S. cannabis license application rates are up for the first time in 2 years. So this is more a good game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so applications are up, but you have to remember, so are lotteries. And if you look at the number of applicants that went in Missouri and Illinois, in Minnesota, in Maryland, Ohio was not a lottery. That was dinky. Like next year's Ohio, and so that's probably one of the reasons why retail dispensary license increased, or at least applications, 445% during Q2 2024. That is what I like to call a misleading statistic. 99% of those 445% more applications will fail, as it's a lottery base.
And again, kids, if you want to be in this weed business, you got to think about what you want to do. Are you going to be a grower? Their whole lateral thing is not a one individual thing that can happen, right? Like it takes investments, it takes the property, it takes the plans and meeting city requirements, right? It's not,
but it takes eligibility and winning a lottery too.
Well, just the business in general.
That's the messed up shit, though. Like how, like all the business in general, right? If you win the asset, great. Talk to me about the business in general. But first, I have to win the asset. And to win the asset, you have to be eligible for the asset. And then you have to apply for the asset. And then you have to win a lottery for that asset.
Yeah.
And so, okay, you've won. You are wholly unprepared for the asset.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, and that's part of the argument, right, with the social equity is so a lot of this has been taking advantage of people which I hate the other side of looking at it is it looks like people who qualify for social equity are just bad at business, right? They don't have experience or whatever there is. But
most businesses fail. So like people that go to business school screw up. Donald Trump has declared bankruptcy several times, and so you really can't fault them for being base rate. Just like most people at business aren't that great at business. But how much work, like I understand like putting in work to like be a professional football player who wins the Super Bowl. I have to achieve something based on my physical prowess and skills.
Right.
Now, they don't really have that type of competition for people that have to win the lottery. Right? If you win the lottery, it almost seems like chance. Luck. It just happened. But that's how the cannabis industry is set up. Chance, luck, it just happened.
Well, it should be.
Yeah.
I question like your original KPA. Hey, Illinois, I appreciate it. Don't take my license, please. But I still question the fucking first rollout with KPMG. Like I sense shenanigans with all those winnings, but
RSM did ours. They did great.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Everybody should call RSM and tell them they're good guys.
And you know what?
Really, still McGladry, I think, is what it stands for.
We should look
RSM I don't know. Like, how many of the big four and beyond consulting firms are you familiar with? But it's just the industry that I'm in. It's like,
no, I get it. Like that's the business side of things. But let's look at what we'll be selling, man.
Hey, let's see what we're fighting for.
Here you go. This one's we got a really cool little hint for you guys.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Check it out. You want to hit it, Will? I'll hand it for you.
Okay, no,
it was low.
That audio failed, and so whatever this hint is, may need to be described.
There it goes. Do you hear that one?
Okay, here's the hint again.
Nice. That was it. This is after a toy from my childhood. There you go. That'll help you.
Toy from Miggy's childhood with a laugh. It sounded like a cartoon laugh or something.
Yeah. The indica dominant hybrid marijuana strain.
Oh, the parents of this one are really famous old strains from like more than 30 years ago, or at least 30 years ago when it comes to ChemDog 4. Technically, I think ChemDog 4 was from 1991. Northern Lights Haze is the other parent. That was from the 80s, I believe. Not the 70s, but the 80s.
Okay.
So yeah, ChemDog number 4 crossed with Northern Lights Haze and whatever that insane clown weed. No, it was not that. I'm going to see if I can try to get this one better.
It's funny you say the origins of some older strains, which probably is why it's named after a time period almost. Like it's a cartoon, it's a toy, it's a.
Hang on a second. I think I got an idea here. Let me just. Here is another little hint. You gotta be careful about this because I don't want it to share the. Okay.
Oh.
And then also share audio, tab audio. Okay, great. Yeah. Space Ghost. No, here we go.
By leading us to this planet, the Autobots have sealed their own doom. Here's
not this one.
to keep you.
How do I go back?
There's more than meets the eye. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we didn't just get flagged. There wasn't some sort of copyright. There we go, Chris.
I don't know. There will be, but that's why you have to have it in fair use. So I really hoped it said GIF.
Memes.
So him laughing, and it's over, as opposed to, why is this episode continuing? Don't you know with copyright strike?
For the memes, YouTube. For the memes.
Here we go. We got a Megatron. Christopher Brady also had the Megatron, not the Scooby Snacks, not that. Yeah, it's a Megatron. Yeah. And so that was that evil laugh that you guys were using. That was a Megatron laugh. I heard that and I'm like, I have no idea what the heck that is. Man, I really thought I was just going to have like a clip on a YouTube. So it's going to be like just that laugh. And I hate when that happens. Hopefully we don't get flagged for it, but we're 43 minutes in. I don't think so. No.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Hercule. And everybody else that says they love us when they it's weird that it's a stream, it's a show, it's a podcast, it's you and me and people hanging out, which it's just fun. And I think this is how we make change, man. I'm telling you, this is how we're a lot forward than I ever was, right? Like I thought we could be with this rescheduling and the whole Democratic Party like making it part of their agenda, which hell yeah, it's better than 2025. Got some shit I wasn't expecting though.
Okay.
All right. You want to get the little... A decade into states legalizing marijuana, underage use has plummeted. Coming from the Hill. This is an opinion piece by Paul Armato, who's former of Normal. Hey, we're missing Tom. All good. Those wedded to the status quo of cannabis criminalization have long warned that legalizing marijuana will result in increased adolescent use. But 10 years following the first state's decision to legalize and regulate adult use cannabis sales, data conclusively shows that their fear was unfounded. In recent days, federal researchers have released a pair of surveys confirming that teen marijuana use has declined sharply over the last decade during the same time in nearly half of the United States. So, under no shit Sherlock news, legalization has not changed the world, burned down the society, and I live in Washington State, one of the first states to legalize it, and we're doing pretty good, despite what the other side tells you.
Well, that's good. I had run out of Coke Zero, so I got an orange cola. I don't think they call them orange colas. orange sodas.
Pep.
Okay. So yeah, isn't that fun though? That like, hey, they legalized it and teen use went down. Are you telling me like that? There's an effect and there's a name for this heuristic. Forbidden fruit effect, something like that, where it's like, oh, don't hit the red button. I have to now hit the red button. And so the concept, the marijuana prohibition writ large, just like don't do this, don't do it, has people want to do it. But you legalize it and you go, oh, grandma, oh yes, ooh, I need that for my bones and the pain.
Right.
And where's your card? Where's your card, Sonny? And so like you've made it legal, so it's no longer forbidden. You've tied it to old people in pain, and you've carded them. And you still fucking call it cereal milk and like other weird skittly fruit things. And so like it's like, come on, man. How much of like the industry is still like predicated on that illegality culture where they try to like make it sound like it's like cookies or some type of fruit candy type thing, which is not medicine or like medicinal. And then like Cheech and Chong, they don't care.
Well, here's the thing. There's still a grind. There's still people doing things not only to survive, but to also someone to propagate the plant. Like here in Washington State, before it was legal in any sense, I know a gentleman who grew very well. And he didn't smoke himself, but he was a very good grower and like had a network of people. Paid for a house. This guy passed on, and his daughter has a house like inherited, right? All legal. Like somehow he covered his money and made it all work. And that's the whole purpose of like making this regulated side. So like you don't have to live in like some sort of weird shadow. Like that's why I think like the branding thing, that's cool and all. Like I get street names and all that shit, but like there's gonna be a level of legalization where you take that thunder out. It ain't gangster to fucking smoke weed or whatever. It ain't gangster get caught either, or whatever the case is. This whole alpha bullshit, it's not just recent years, it's like always been. And if you put business in the right way, there's a way to do things.
I have never met a trapper with an HR department. Just saying. And I'm sitting there modeling numbers and cash flows and going like, if this shows up, we are going to definitely be hiring an HR consultant to be able to set up these systems and processes that can be duplicated in other locations. And so like that is business. Boring systems thinking bullshit to like be able to grow your reach. And it's not just money and cash to you. Yeah.
And it shouldn't be scary, right? It shouldn't be for people who do want to be the ultimate grower. For people who do want to, start as that whatever one that should be an option for them. That should be the thing that they can try to do, because that's the American dream. Is to I'm really good at green thumb, so I will invest in buying this warehouse, and I will buy all the dirt and lighting and shit. And now this is my thing, but like. That can only happen in each little state right now. And you have to have seriously deep pockets, right? And with the banking not behind anything, there's just like it takes a unique person to even like get involved in this motherfucker in the first place, right? You got to have some passion. I would hope some people do see a quick dollar and flip, and those are just who try and avoid doing business with, right? And that's I think with brand that's
yes
where
and no. I mean, like one of the rules of business is don't lose money, And so if somebody's gonna be like, get out, well, then you'll have this return. And they aren't wrong,
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a thing about buying low and selling high. And all the other rules of thumbs, but there's also rules for gambling. You double down on 10 and 20 and 11.
No, God damn it. Those are not rules. And so like with the exception of Ed Thorpe's Beat the Dealer, who was like actually integral in the options pricing algorithm. So if your mathematical level is there, I am not talking to you. I am talking to the other 99.9% of humans. And so that is not a thing. Gambling is not businesses or systems or anything like that. That is the house always wins, and you're chasing a dopamine rush of like, yay. But there's a new Gallup poll, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Did you see the new Gallup poll out of Ganjapreneur?
Yep.
Cannabis is less harmful.
than alcohol, tobacco, and vape products. What?
That's what they perceive. That is what the public perceives. Cannabis less harmful than alcohol, tobacco, and vape products.
I think that could be an official study too, as far as like if general population sees nothing wrong with something, right? This thing has been in movies and society jokes about it, like it's like the butt of jokes. But this is why it's such a severe issue. Why, if you're going to go to the polls, and why the rescheduling ball rolling that the Democrats have started, like this is real legislation. This is real infrastructure progress, things that help people like below 200K, right? Like I don't know why. Like there are, what is it? Like people who are Republican, I see are like vegans for like the slaughterhouse, you know, like, you know, let's go cow. I don't get, or, you know, I just don't get this, what behooves the general population, the American way, you know, the overall, if you hear my voice and you know, like I make you like your stomach curl because I say Trump's a ding dong, but at the same token, I hope your life is good and I hope you don't go to jail. And for that to happen, this fucking thing needs to get rescheduled, and there needs to be like a platitude that happens.
There needs to be rules, and then those rules need to. How quickly did we get just over our phones? It's like, who the fuck cares? Like, you know, there will be like an accumulation or an acclimation period to Schedule 3 that I think will go real fast. And so this rule, if it gives us, here's how the cannabis industry works, according to the feds, just how we did with like hemp, it could then get to the next level. And then just like it happened with hemp, the law could change in 5 years. And so that's kind of what I think is going to happen. It's going to go to Schedule 3. We're going to have rules. And then the FDA could change. And like, cause like, it's still going to be illegal. So do you would make the FDA change the rules? Or do we just drop it based on the system that they created, and then you evolve it in Congress? But then 60%. And so like now you have to see like all these like red states, all 12, 14 of them, whatever, they have to get medical weed into their state so that it's making money. And then they're like, okay, drop it.
But sometimes the dropping is not so easy because like, and we'll talk to it later about Florida, but like, I think sometimes I feel like I should have, you know, like how football players have like plays, you know, like the play board, whatever. Oh, shit. That's what we need for legalization, right? Because we inevitably want a federal one where everything's, you know, hunky dory, but to get there, scheduling still, but in the process, people still need to state by state, right? Like in Florida, the only people pushing back, even the hemp people are saying no on that pro amendment because of like the what is it, the no home grow shit, right? Fuck, take what you can get is what my point being is. Like, don't, you know, it sucks. I don't have home grow. I haven't had it here in fucking 12 years in Washington, but
politics,
but it's priorities too. Priorities of
but then like, you do have it. Like if you want to get your medical card, you have it. That's the other thing. It's like an adult doesn't have it, but a medical adult does. That's what we're trying to like. Eventually will end. Eventually everybody can just go to the store, like they can buy a 6-pack or whatever, like I do already presently in Washington State. Meanwhile, you know, Morocco, we got some international news. Should we get that bumper? Oh
yeah. Morocco issues
international news.
Hell yeah. For cannabis, 5,000 pardons for cannabis farming. Morocco's king this week pardoned nearly 5,000 people convicted that were wanted of charges related to legal cannabis cultivation, coming from ganjapreneur.
Oh yeah.
Progress. This is how you make progress. Pardons, actual rules, you know. Shit, dude, that was our last one too.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I've fed up 2 more on Florida. And so the Florida stuff is, you know, in effect because it's coming. And so we have one out of the Orlando Sentinel. And then how can you tell that this is a politicized thing? Well, you can just look at the actual title that the Orlando Sentinel has on their report here. Amendment 3. And again, this would not be Yep. Did not add it. Okay. Will pot legalization spark a stone driving epidemic in Florida? As if the hemp isn't getting them stoned enough.
Telling you, we need a reefer madness bumper, because like this is the bullshit language that they're fear mongering. Like, how do you, like, one of the things here in Washington State was like the DUI thing, and it's like, how do you stop? How does a cop know whatever? And it's like, how do they know now? There's never a magic line all the time you can have.
Yeah,
and welcome to real life. Ooh, but yeah, no, that's just sad. I thought I had one more for you that I was going to share.
Here's one.
Go for it. Oh no, not this one.
That's the wrong one. Oh look, share this tab instead. Ads. The internet. It's made of ads. DeSantis in the middle of the Florida feud, pitting marijuana against hemp. This came out of the Washington Post recently, being August 25th, which was today, by the way. Brandon Gomes Dispensary smells tropical flavored gummies and smokable hemp under names like ice cream cake and lemon meringue that promise a relaxing high and pure bliss. So that's trapper weed right there. Like these hemp shops are like a lot of the crap that comes out of California. It's all about making it appeal to ice cream and cake and candy and bliss and all those things. You're just feeling good, as opposed to having some type of medical bent for it, or that it's over the age of 21.
The stigma, right? It's all part of the stigma.
They're politicizing it, and so that's what it is. And so he's just saying, I'm going to put this against this, because this, you're still under my boot heel. Like, I can arrest you at any time. You're just saying it's legal because of a BS loophole that maybe we don't enforce unless we're Wyoming, and they're like, fuck you. But
medical is not legalization. Medical is an affirmative defense. Medical is just something that in an actual court. One of the things I wanted to add that I just remembered. So there was this video by this guy Liger 420. He covers like that like gossipy news, which
he's got Carl is Liger 420's like,
but he has this story.
How can you hate him? He likes Carl.
but the story he just had right now. So like Dope as Yola.
I'll pick my nose on that. I thought it was off the screen. Yeah.
No, that was me. I started to do it. But Dope, because I wanted to get into the conversation, is Dope as Yola met with YouTube, Google people. And so like there's actual representation now, maybe perhaps fingers crossed, for people who do want to post smoke.
We do not have Dope as Yola numbers. Like Dope as Yola numbers are like bazonkas. And so like
go ahead.
Let's get somebody who's 20 and then hope. But then the problem also is this is policy. Like even like if we could abstract to like what's going on at the national level, no one cares there. So if no one's talking about this shit on Meet the Press, nobody's going to care about your channel.
Well, and that's why this kind of representation, right? It's the kids, right? The social media influencers. These are the ones that hopefully he's getting some in his ear right now. And there could be some real policy that we don't get flagged as much. Maybe we'll be more taken seriously and all this other. Who knows? And who fingers crossed. Just know what's out there. And thanks for hanging. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for hanging. We are out of cannabis legalization news for the week, but we'll be back next week with more. Is that going to be our Labor Day special?
Are you going to be on tour?
I'm not going. I am not going anywhere else except for St. Louis and Chicago. Like, I think that's just going to be my new haunt, because St. Louis and Chicago markets are big enough. And then I'll get to Kentucky and Minnesota and Missouri. I've already mentioned Missouri at St. Louis. And so, like, I'll do the Midwest as it turns on.
Nice, man. Yeah, no, I'll be here.
Right on. Catch you next week, everybody. And if you're a member of the show, you make the credits.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Hell yeah.